everyone, Sarah here, one of your clinical prosthetists and manager of technical support and global clinical communications with Freedom Innovations. Today's webinar replay is Social Media as a Marketing Tool, Part 1 in Freedom Innovations Digital Marketing Series. Your hosts today will be Eric Ferris, Renar Amori, and Tatiana Ramirez from our own marketing department. For ABC CEUs, we will submit automatically on your behalf. And for BOC and state licensure, when you pass the quiz with 80% or more, you will receive a certificate emailed to you and you can submit those to the board. For additional online CEUs that are available whenever you are, you can visit our website, freedom-innovations.com.p&o data and sign up there. Thanks again for your interest in our webinar.
All right, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. As I always like to say, if you've been on these calls before, good evening. We do have some international participants. My name is Eric Ferris, head of marketing here at Freedom Innovations. First of all, I always like to say, I want to start out by hoping everyone is safe and healthy. As we saw, most states are now partially reopened. So we are starting back into some sense of normalcy. And so we'll see how that goes, but hopefully all of you guys are staying safe and healthy. For those of you who are new to these freedom hours, as we call them, what we designed here is basically a weekly 60-minute session. And our focus is on information that we find critical to management and to the growth of a clinical practice. And the information and the topics that we focus on are coming from you. We've asked a lot of you over the past few weeks about information that you would like to see, information that you believe would be helpful, and we got kind of three areas that we kind of focus on. The first one is the first request we had from you when the quarantine kind of began really focused in on pure CEU credits. A lot of the regional meetings were canceled, and so hey, we need some help on that, and so we did a number of product training courses there. As we evolved and as we continued on, the feedback came back that people really wanted a lot of COVID-related information. So we talked about, different funding mechanisms, different trends that AOPA was seeing. We talked about optimizing productivity in a practice during a downturn and during some difficult times. And we talked about kind of a new way to set goals in the midst of this kind of merger that we're all experiencing between kind of work-life. And then we've been monitoring that. And we're getting more feedback, and people are saying, you know what, I'm ready to talk a little bit more about growth phase. Let's talk about programs that can help my practice grow as we reopen, as we re-engage with our customers, our patients, and our economy, really. And so last week, we really had a focus in around patient care. Brenda Archer did a great job for us, I thought, last week around kind of the fundamentals of patient care and how even in a pandemic, fundamentals don't change. And then we want to turn today into this week to social media. And the topic that we are, Minar, if you want to go to the next slide there, the focus that we're having today, we can get to that one. There we go, perfect. So the focus today is on utilizing social media as a marketing tool, and this is important because I think for all of us, social media we know is important, right? We know it's critical, and one thing that I think everyone does, you kind of post your stuff and you put your information up there. And what happens typically is that you go, all right, the owner liked it, and I have some amputee, my friends liked it, Aunt Sally loved it, but have you really optimized your social media as a marketing tool and as a really a resource and as a really a platform with which to grow your practice and with which to grow awareness in your brand? That's what we want to focus in on today. And so a couple general kind of guidelines that I want to kind of walk us through for today. First, I want this to be interactive. We all have you on mute, and that's from experience. I've done it before where you unmute 100 people, and man, that can be dangerous. If you have questions, please send them in. There's the chat feature. Sarah Stilley, who I'll introduce in just a bit, is our moderator, and she'll jump in with some questions. And of course, we'll have questions at the end as well. But I want this to be interactive. I do want this to really be a partnership and a dynamic conversation. Second thing is, this is really, we believe, a three-part journey. Today, we're going to focus in on the essentials of social media. And so Manar will go into what we believe those are. And so really talking about different channel selection, talking about a roadmap for success. We'll explore that today. Part two is we kind of have you guys go out and do your thing. I call explore and experiment a bit with a number of the things that we'll talk about, a number of different options. And in about 2 or 3 weeks, we'll come back and schedule part three, if you will, which then talks about building a social media brand. So once you have the foundation set, now let's go in and talk about utilizing advertising platforms, and we'll talk about positioning statements. We'll talk about different branding mechanisms and kind of how you identify your key differentiators and things like that. So that's how we see this going. And I think the final, point I'd like to make here is partnership is going to be key. We want to truly understand your needs as clinicians, as marketing managers or marketing coordinators in clinics. What are your key issues? What are the key things you need help on? And we're very excited by the opportunity to be able to help you with that. We have just launched, and by we, Manar Amori, who you'll hear from in just a bit, has done an outstanding job at really putting together a resource center. And this is she'll go into details, but this really houses all of our digital assets and a number of other kind of, I think, resources for you as you start to build and enhance your social media presence and your strategies. I think the resource center will be very helpful. And again, my final point here is really engage with us. I'm going to introduce the team in just a bit, but we look forward to hearing from you. So if you have questions, comments, you have a need, you have a question, please feel free to reach out, and we'll absolutely get back with you. So that's our map, okay, of where we're headed for the day. Now, if you want to go to the next slide, and then we have what we've experienced also on these is, there we go. There's a little bit of a delay when we start because everybody hits on the hour, but as we get going, the delay goes away. So here's the marketing team. The guy who's speaking probably too much, that's me on the left, head of marketing and product development here at Freedom. My email is right below. Manar, who really runs all of our global product marketing efforts for the company. And she also is, I think, also very experienced actually in the consumer side. So she brings an interesting mix of, okay, here is how kind of the overall strategy, and here's how you set up certain goals and certain programs, but here's how you make it consumer friendly. I think she's done a nice job at that. So she'll be leading us through a number of things today. Tatiana Ramirez is new, relatively new to the team. She is kind of our lead on digital and social media. She brings a very interesting perspective because if you are somewhat new to social media, or you have the basics done and you're looking to be more advanced in how you're managing those channels, Tatiana just went through it about a year ago. So her insights, I think, are perfectly aligned with this course in order for her to come in and say, here is the trip ups that I saw. Here are the major kind of resources that I did not realize that Facebook had or Instagram had. And she'll go over that with you guys today. And finally, fourth member, but last certainly not least, is Sarah Stilley, head of our global communications and really global clinical communications efforts. And so all of our white papers and studies and all those things Sarah runs for us. She also manages all of our U.S. help desk. She's also today the moderator of this. And so if she wasn't on this call right now, the call would probably just fall apart. So Sarah, thank you for your support today. That's the team. And again, if you look in the italicized text there, that is our email address. That's our obviously our contact information. Please, at any time, feel free to reach out to us as we get going. Okay, let's go to a couple surveys. I would not be a marketing person if I did not have a group of you on the phone and not ask you a couple questions. And this is the start of these questions are kind of the start of a partnership and start of a team in terms of understanding key things you need and how can we as a company best support you. So Sarah, I'll turn over to you here we go, perfect. So the first question, how would you rate the social media presence of your clinic today? Minimal meaning just, hey, we've got a Facebook thing up and we've got, a couple pictures, to extensive saying, yeah, we're actually all over social media. We're doing ads already. We're promoting a bunch of stuff already. So if you could just select one through 5, and then we'll see the results in about 30 seconds. And again, this will allow us to not only customize some of our content today as we move forward, but also updating our resource center and updating other programs that we may use with you guys. Let's give that another 10 seconds. Okay. There, if you could show the results. Okay. So we're in the 1s or 2s. Okay. Excellent. Perfect. So that's this. Okay. So this will be, that's excellent. This will be helpful for the majority of you. So that's excellent. Okay. Second question. All right. What social media channels are you currently utilizing today? These are the 5 that are typically most utilized by companies today. So if you can just select all that apply. And Sarah, all right, we'll see what the results are. All right, so Facebook, yeah. So, okay, perfect. So what you'll find is, as we'll go through that, Facebook is a great resource, a great medium. And there's a lot of, I think, nuances to Facebook that you may or may not, may not be aware of. Instagram is emerging, and that's an interesting one for image building. Again, we'll get into this. And LinkedIn, of course, is always a favorite. So, okay, all right, third question. There are 5 total, so this won't go on too long, but this is very helpful, guys. Thank you. First one here is, what is your greatest content need today? And so this is, are you most, as you look at your marketing plans, as you look at your marketing needs, do you most in need of product images, product videos, amputee testimonials? What I mean by amputee lifestyle, that's actually one of our, I would say, our Connect's ankle or our Conterra ankle walking up a hill. Are you needed that, or are you looking more for social media content and posting? So if you guys could take a few seconds on that. All right, Sarah. Okay, this is interesting. Perfect. So this is a so social media content and posting, which makes sense given that this is a social media course. What you'll find and what we find is, and again, we'll go into this, is that social media content in the beginning is actually relatively easy to find. As you continue and as you really kind of normalize that content and posting, it gets much more difficult to maintain that consistency. So we'll go into a little bit of some strategies for you on that. All right, 2 more to go, and then we will get into this. This is excellent, guys. Thank you. This will kind of influence what we do relative to support programs and support information. So the next question is, what is currently the #1 marketing priority in your clinic? Is it digital, social media and website development? Is it in-office materials such as brochures or videos? Are you looking at patient support groups, any kind of external communication, or are you in that point where you're just putting together that marketing plan? All right, Sarah? Okay, that is it. Okay, interesting. Perfect. So digital obviously would be the #1, which I was not surprised by. Marketing plan development is another interesting one. We have a program that we call the Cornerstone program that actually helps people with marketing plan development, looking at understanding kind of your brand, making sure the stuff you're doing is on message. So if that is something you are looking at and deep into, feel free to give me a shout or an email, and I can get back to you on that. That's interesting and good to know. Okay, last one, and then we will rock and roll. Guys, thank you. Like I said, this is excellent. Okay, does your practice today have an individual dedicated solely to marketing efforts? What I mean by that is full-time employee with the title of marketing manager, marketing coordinator, event manager, something that is, their whole role is just marketing. All right, Sarah? Okay. So I'm so the yes actually is higher than I thought. That's good, because one of the challenges I see is, man, it's tough to say you've got your own role if you're a front office administrator or you're a clinician and you're being a marketing person. And so I think one of the goals that we have is to lessen the stress and the anxiety and kind of the pressure on you in terms of some of the marketing things you have to do by putting the right resources on this resource center that we've developed and making sure you have the priorities and the content that you need. So, okay. So thank you guys. I appreciate that. That was very helpful. Again, that is going to drive a lot of what we offer and the programs that we provide to you. So thank you again for that. Okay, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Manar to kind of start our program, and we'll go from there. Manar, the floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, Eric. Welcome, everyone. We've put together a very robust yet niche PowerPoint presentation for you today that will help walk you through the digital marketing world. So let's see here. All right. When you think of digital marketing, when you hear the word digital marketing, what do you guys think? What do you guys see? What you see up in front of you right now are several different acronyms, words, phrases used to discuss or to put together digital marketing strategies. Everything from CEOs, SEOs, SEAs, SEMs, a lot of acronyms, a lot of different analytics. But don't be scared off just yet. What we've put together is basically a roadmap that we will walk you through today to help make sense of this digital marketing world. So where do you start? But before we start talking about digital marketing, let's set the stage by talking about the foundation of just general marketing in itself. General marketing strategy encompasses several elements that will help build a brand. And that starts with identifying what your brand is. From there, you create your message, you create your content, you follow up with your distribution, and then lastly, analytics, which all feeds back to your base again, and refining your brand message content as such. So when we look at the three phases that Eric talked about earlier in the presentation, it all really comes back to creating a cohesive marketing strategy. What we're going to be discussing today is the digital aspect of that marketing strategy. So when we talk about digital marketing, there are three main elements of the foundation. First, we've got SMM. That stands for social media marketing. This basically, again, it's a three-letter acronym, but basically this is your social media presence, right? So when you hear the words, the letters SMM, all that means is your Facebook page, your Instagram account, your LinkedIn profile. That is what SMM refers to. Then you've got your SEM, which is your search engine marketing. Again, another acronym here, but don't be worried, don't be scared. This is just basically what you pay for in terms of advertising. So think of your Google AdWords, paying for your post on Facebook, which we'll be discussing today, to get it promoted, to get it visible to a wider range of audience. So when you hear that term SEMs, search engine marketing, it's basically online paid advertising. And then lastly, there's SEOs, which is a monster to tackle, but it is referring to search engine optimization. In generality, search engine optimization is basically what makes your website friendly enough to get listed at that top Google mark, right? When you type in that keyword in your Google search, what you see in that top 5 to 10 search engine results, that is the result of having great search engine optimization strategy. So what we'll be reviewing today are the key essentials for that foundation, the SMM and the SEMs. In the following follow-up presentations, we'll be tackling the SEOs in that part too. Okay. So what we've put together for you today, what we'll be reviewing, is the roadmap to a successful SMM and SEM. Again, that's the social media strategies and that execution, that advertising part. So the 4 elements to successfully getting yourself going on social media is, first, you've got to establish yourself. And that's basically looking at which channels are you on? Are you on any? And from what we've seen on the poll today, some of you guys you're already active. Are you taking advantage of the business accounts, the profile business accounts? Next, you're going to want to become a valuable resource. So you've got yourself established, then you're going to want to be a valuable resource that has rich content that people value and they're going to want to keep coming back to. And this is where we'll also touch base on the resources we have available to you and how you guys can access them. Thirdly, we're going to discuss how you can engage your audience. And now we talk about being a valuable resource. That's the output that you provide to the community. Engaging your audience is more of that two-way street, that being responsive, that give and take, being part of a community and not just putting your information out there and expecting people to just receive you. Being engaging is a two-way street. Then finally, how to maintain that momentum. We'll be reviewing tactics and strategy on not only maintaining, but as well as driving that momentum to grow your community of followers online. So let's talk about your channel priorities. It's actually right in line with the surveys you guys just responded to. So first up, we've got Facebook. Facebook is your go-to social media platform for the O&P world. It's got over 2.5 billion users. It's a great place to build relationships as well as your brand loyalty. So when we talk about the O&P world, if you have no time to do anything except for one platform, Facebook is your stop, your one destination stop. So that's where we recommend you start off. Then we recommend you take a look at Instagram. It has 1 billion users, and it's a great place to provide awareness and share that lifestyle and cultural arts, which is in line with O&P. When you think about the human element of the O&P world, that lifestyle, people want to feel that connection, and Instagram is a great visual arena to get that connection going. Then we've got LinkedIn. This is largely understated here, and the impact of the marketing LinkedIn can do so much for your business. We're not talking about driving patients to your clinic. We're talking about having LinkedIn provide connections with other businesses, maybe your local physical therapist office, to drive that awareness that you are available, what you're doing to help your patients. That will drive referrals to your clinic. So it's really about building connections with other businesses that could drive referrals, as opposed to where Facebook and Instagram are really about connecting more with your patients, with your customers. Then we've got YouTube. YouTube is a great platform. We have this as a fourth priority simply because it is very difficult to provide a robust channel. If you do have the ability or access to a robust library, YouTube is a great platform for you guys to utilize. We will not be reviewing YouTube today on this call as is its own aspect. In follow-up calls, we will be diving into YouTube, but YouTube is a great place to provide those how-to videos. Think of patient advocates at home, yogas, just sharing different things with your patient advocates that will drive that brand loyalty to you. Then lastly, we've got Twitter. Twitter with 330 million users. It's one of the smaller platform bases. It's a great way to share thoughts and start conversation. But when you consider all 5 of these platforms, you really are going to be more successful if you focus in on those top 3, which is Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So once you have set your mind, okay, we're going to start off with Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. What you need to do is focus around getting that business account set up. So there is a key difference between setting up a personal account and a business account. And this is true for your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and your Facebook pages. So for example, what you see here on Insights, those 2 graphics right there, this is information that is only available to an Instagram business account. It allows you to access your followers' information. When are they active? What time are they active? Their demographic information, how they are engaging with your post, how popular are your posts? Are they only seeing your posts and they're not really engaging in them? You can also have the ability to add information such as your address, your telephone number, and by selecting your account, your customers can directly give you a call. This isn't stuff that is not really available on a personal profile. Another advantage of that business account, especially on Facebook, is it's very similar to Yelp. And if you're familiar with Yelp, it basically allows people to provide reviews, provide chats, and ask questions. It adds legitimacy to your business. So we really encourage you guys to, rather than setting up just personal accounts, convert them over to business accounts. We've set up a couple items, and we'll talk about them in a few minutes on, if you do have a personal account now, you don't need to start from scratch. You can change them over to business accounts fairly easily. The last two advantages that we're covering today are scheduling advertising and scheduling future posts. These two items, they're definitely not available for that personal setup on the accounts. So make sure you set up that business account so you can take advantage of all these variety of advantages for businesses. So we're not going to dive into step-by-step setting up the business accounts today, but you will be able to access them on our new resource, the freedominnovationsresourcecenter.com. Once there, we'll do a quick walkthrough in a few slides from now. You'll be able to download these two quick reference guides, one's for Facebook, one's for Instagram. In the coming weeks, we will be also posting LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, and other helpful information on social media marketing, and as well as other digital marketing efforts that you guys will benefit from. So when this course is over, you guys can jump on that freedomresourcecenter.com and take a look at these quick reference guides and figure out, where are you in the process? Do you already have a personal account and you need help converting it over to a business account? Or do you simply need to start fresh? Do you need a completely new setup? These guides will walk you through that process. Now with that, first up, we're going to be discussing Facebook, what it is, the overview, and how to leverage it, and what to do about making sure you are providing that rich content that's going to be engaging. And with that, I'm going to provide the stage to Tatiana.
Thanks, Pinar. Okay, so my name is Tatiana Ramirez, and today I will be briefly going over the 3 main social media channels that we recommend you use for your business, and some things I discovered as I took over the responsibility of managing the social media accounts for Freedom. We will be discussing, or we'll be focusing specifically on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn today. And first, I will cover what differentiates each from other platforms. Then I will share some key insights that I discovered. And lastly, I will touch on the components of an effective post. So for step-by-step guidance, like Pinar said, on how to set up an account or access specific business account features, you can always reference the quick reference guides we have available on our resource center to download. You can also check out the help sections of each site you're interested in, or you can do a Google search for instructions on how to set things up. Okay, so first off, we're going to touch on Facebook. So we do strongly recommend that you set up a business page on Facebook. There are a lot of great features, many of which are free to use. As Pinar mentioned earlier, if you only have time to manage one account for your business, it should really be Facebook. As your comfort level and available resources increase, we do encourage you to explore the other channels as well. So we want you to think of Facebook as another version of Yelp. It's a place where people can check into your physical location, they can leave reviews and recommendations, access your contact information so they find out how to get a hold of you, and ask questions, all of which are available for public review. So just remember that people who are researching your company will come to Facebook to gather more information about your business. So they'll go there to take note of positive and negative experiences that have been shared there. And then from there, they'll make the decision on whether or not they'd like to do business with you. So it's really important. Some things I wanted to mention about Facebook are that to set up a business page, you first must set up a personal account. Once you do that, you will then assign admin roles to people within your organization to give them editing and posting rights. Each person on your team will need to have a personal account set up to have access to the business page. And you just want to make sure that you're posting from the correct account before you start sharing content. So you just want to double check that before you hit send. Also, another thing I wanted to highlight is the chat feature, which is unique to Facebook. So that works through Facebook Messenger, which allows people to message you in real time. And we highly recommend that you utilize Facebook's automated responses so that when people send you a message, 1, they know that their message was received, and 2, they know that a member of your team will reach out to assist them shortly. You can also set away messages for when your business is closed, so people will know when to expect a response, which provides reassurance that their inquiry won't be ignored. Another thing to highlight is that it's really important to designate someone on your team to respond to inquiries, as your average response time is made public on your page. So if your response rate is measured in days instead of hours, this may turn people off to your business before they even have a chance to try your services. Another cool aspect of Facebook is that you can actually link it to Instagram and Twitter. This way you can actually simultaneously post to multiple accounts, which will help you save time and energy to focus on other aspects of your business. This will also help you later on when you start to create ads for your business, which Manar will touch on later today. Also, as Manar mentioned, Facebook's the only channel that allows you to schedule posts ahead of time. So take advantage of that. Set aside some time each week to plan out your content in advance, set the dates and times for posts, and then you can go about your day. Also, you want to make sure that you're utilizing both stories and posts. We've all seen stories at the top of your feed. There you go. So just make sure you're utilizing that. It's just another dynamic way to communicate with your followers. There's lots of options there to provide quick videos, pictures, stickers, animations. It's just a really dynamic resource that it's just a fun thing to explore. Next, so we're just going to cover the basic framework of a good post. So Manar will go into detail later in this presentation for specific content ideas, but we just wanted to give you some of the general things to focus on first. So the focus and tone should be somewhat short. It should be positive, inspiring, fun, life-affirming, energetic. It should elicit a response of either "aw" or "wow." So you really want to play to people's emotions, and you'll definitely get more engagement with your posts that way. Typically, people go on Facebook a couple of times a day, so you want to match that frequency with how often you post. So you should be good with about 2 posts a day. Also, you want to keep it short, no more than 2 to 3 sentences max. We all know we live in an age of the short attention span, so you have to cater to that to be effective with your audience. Don't be overly wordy or you'll lose people. Also, use questions to encourage conversation and commenting. You really want to promote a sense of community and convey the message that your business cares. So with that, we can move on to Instagram. Okay, so Instagram is a Facebook product, so the basic principles are nearly the same for Instagram, except Instagram has more of a focus on the visual element. So you'll need to use images that tell a story, as people are less willing to read as much text on Instagram, so that's just something to keep in mind. So some things I discovered when I took over the business account for Instagram is that you must set up a personal account in order to set up a professional account first. So you set up the personal account and then you're able to switch that over to a professional account. We have detailed instructions on the quick reference guide on our resource center, so check out how to do that. It's fairly simple. Also, when you're setting up your company info, you'll have to be concise when it comes to the company description. You're capped at 150 characters for that, so just choose your words wisely. Also, one cool feature is that you can link multiple accounts to one sign-in on your Instagram app. So if you wanted to link your personal account to your business account, you could do that under one sign-in. You only have to remember one password, but again, just keep in mind that you're posting from the correct account. Another thing to keep in mind is that Instagram can be a little bit of a headache. Some of the stuff isn't as intuitive as the other channels. So like sharing posts and sharing stories, you're actually not able to accomplish that within the app itself. You'll have to utilize third-party apps, which Manar will touch on later. And then lastly, for Instagram, website links in the captions of a post actually don't have a hyperlink attached to them. So if you want to direct people to your website, you'll have to refer them to the URL that you set up on your profile for Instagram. Some other things to keep in mind is the stories work pretty much the same as Facebook, just the way that you access them looks a little bit different. You do access it from the feed, but instead of clicking on the preview of the story, you're going to be clicking on the profile picture at the top to get started. So like I said, the anatomy of a good post is basically the same as Facebook, except there's more of an emphasis on rich imagery. But the tone is going to be the same. You're going to want to post the same amount 1 to 2 times a day, and then keep everything short, engaging, and then also promote conversations. So with that, we can move on to LinkedIn. Okay, so last, LinkedIn, as Minar mentioned earlier, is just a little bit different than Facebook and Instagram in that it's focused more on the business side of things and less so on the patient population. So here, your interactions will be similar to those of a corporate dinner party. The platform allows you to be more informational and instructional as you develop your business connections in your network. So just a couple things to keep in mind with LinkedIn is that you must set up a personal account first and then assign admin roles after that, similar to the setup on Facebook. And then also on LinkedIn, there's a huge marketing opportunity here on this channel, which I don't think everyone realizes. So this is definitely something you're going to want to take advantage of, and something that we'll cover a little bit more in depth on the next segment of the digital marketing series. So when it comes to posting on LinkedIn, the focus and tone are more informational and business related. This is actually the only platform you can post articles on. So feel free to share relevant articles and other educational pieces on LinkedIn. This is definitely the place for it. People tend to only go to LinkedIn about 1 or 2 times a week. So you're only going to need to post a couple of times a week for this channel and you'll be good. Again, keep captions short and engaging, encourage conversation, take opportunities to congratulate colleagues and business partners, and also take the opportunity to highlight exceptional employees. And one last thing I wanted to just touch on before we move forward with the presentation and I hand it back over to Minar is one last tip that I have for you for all of these channels. I just want to make sure that you check with each site's guidelines for image sizes, supported aspect ratios, video length restrictions, supported file types before you get started on creating content. The last thing that you want is to spend a bunch of time and money on content that ends up being cropped to fit or just simply won't upload on the site. But this is information you can find by looking it up on the help section of each channel or running a Google search. So I just thought I'd mention that before I turn it back over. So with that, it's back to you, Minar.
Thanks, Tatiana. Okay, so let's revisit that roadmap again. So we just talked about establishing your accounts. If you're fully set up, now what do you do after that? Well, now it's time to build your following. And when we discuss following, we don't just mean the people that follow you. We're really talking about that community that I was referencing to earlier. Traditionally, you've heard the words network. You know, you network when you're at a mixer, a company event, you're going out, you're giving your business card, you're receiving a business card, and that is what networking is. But in this new digital world, now it surpasses that one-to-one person. It is now community. And by building your following, you're really building that community. You're contributing to the community and you're growing the community in itself. So when you're ready to build that following, to build that community of yours, because you've already established your accounts in their entirety, make sure you take the time to fill in all the information, create those profiles. Do not skip a step, because that is going to be the face of your company in this digital world. So once you've done that, now it's time to build that following. And by building a following, you'll need to do 2 things. You'll need to be that valuable resource, and you'll need to engage your audience. So we're going to dive into those 2 elements and discuss more about how you become a valuable resource, and then how do you continue to engage your audience. So first up, by becoming a valuable resource, you need to do 4 key things here. You need to make sure your content is credible, relevant, consistent, and reliable. When we talk about credible, that means you are not only just sharing your insights, you are also giving credit to people. If you have an article on LinkedIn that you're sharing, make sure you are citing that reference. If you are resharing a post, you want to make sure you've gotten permission from somebody. That creates that credibility. You want to talk about your expertise, and that's what provides credibility there. Relevant information. If you are promoting your clinic, you do not want to post something about a car you just restored over the weekend on your page, unless it's got something related to your practice or the O&P world. That's what we talk about when it's related to relevant. And that doesn't mean you can't share, let's say, a recipe. You can definitely share a recipe, but you got to figure out how are you going to tie that back in. Maybe it's related to living a healthier lifestyle, something that will tie it back into the O&P world. And then you need to be consistent. You cannot fall off the face of the world after 2 weeks. If you have decided you're going to commit to being present on social media, be consistent with your postings. Every week you need to have content being posted. Do not take time off. The digital world does not take vacations. You can take vacations, but that means you need to plan ahead. Take advantage of the scheduling options available on these digital platforms. Be consistent. Do not miss a step. And then be reliable. That's in line with being consistent. Being reliable means you are consistently posting and you are reliable with your responses. If somebody poses a question and it takes you a week or two to respond back to them, that is really not a valuable resource to them. If they have a concern, if they have a comment, you want to reciprocate and provide that information. And that is how you keep people coming back to you and engaging with you. We also have a couple other items to be a valuable resource. You need to be relatable. And that's pretty much like being relevant, but it's another angle to it. And then you have to be inspirational and motivational. So you can definitely share posts about maybe you're treating somebody who's on the road to go to the Olympics. You can definitely share those motivational, inspirational items that will definitely drive traffic to your feed. Also, don't want to neglect the relatable aspect of it. Not everybody is a heavyweight champion of the world, right? You want those relatable stories that your patients can see themselves in, and those inspirational ones that they can see themselves or desiring themselves to be like. Some topics that you can include to provide that value to your followers are including lifestyle visuals people can see themselves in, navigating daily life items, such as the ones that we have here on the right, examples of information on putting on liners, how to balance yourself maybe on a surfboard, simple things like limb hygiene. Different things and tips and tricks that your patients can follow and learn from are great ways to be a valuable resource to your followers. Sharing those patient journeys, that's the relatable part, right? The success stories. Also showing some patients and their challenges and then how they overcome them. It doesn't all have to be rainbows and butterflies. Facebook, Instagram, these platforms are all about showing that human interaction. So while we say be positive, be inspirational, don't shy away from sharing obstacles, but then following up with how are we overcoming those obstacles? That's what they want to learn about. Provide patient testimonials. That is going to add that credibility to your practice. People want to know they can trust you, and the way they can trust you, to learn how to trust you more and buy into what you are offering, is by hearing other people champion you. That's what patient wants to see. And then fun things like just socket artwork and design, cool projects you're working on. This is a great way to provide that engagement with your community. Now, we discussed that Freedom Innovations Resource Center. We've put together a website that is basically tailored right now to provide you digital content that you can utilize. And we're going to take a moment right now to look at that site. So it's the FI, that stands for Freedom Innovations -resourcecenter.com. And this is what you're going to see when you land there. Just going to load that page. All right, so once you are on the Freedom Innovations resourcecenter.com site, you'll get to the landing page. This page does require you to log in to sign up to access it, and it's completely free. To log in, you just click at the top right. You fill in your information, and then you sign up. It's as simple as that, and then you have access immediately. For me, I will log in with my Facebook account, which you can definitely do as well. And once you're in, you will now be able to click on the various options within the Resource Center. So first up, we've got the Freedom feed. When you're on that Freedom feed page, it's basically a live feed of all the postings that we have available on our social media. Why and how this is can benefit you if you choose is by hovering over these by hovering over the posts. And this is, if you just click on the arrow, you can continue to see more posts, and it's an infinite amount of posts that you guys can reuse. If you hover over the post, you can click on Facebook, Twitter, or Pinterest, and from there, once you click on it, it'll take you to your Facebook page that you've already logged into, where you can also decide if you're going to select to share it to your page. So share on page you manage. For me, it's the Freedom Innovations. Here is where I would say awesome video, or whatever it is that you would like to share as a comment. And from there, that's a free instantaneous post that now you've got access to. So that's one way to utilize the Freedom feed. Then we've got the Freedom Library. Once you click on there, what we've done is we've loaded over 300 high quality images for you to access on the Freedom Library. These are all related to lifestyle images, right? So these are live, candid images of different advocates in different stages of life, doing daily living activities of daily living. So from here, you could either choose to download the images. For example, let's take a look at Denise walking down the stairs. I'm clicking on that. So here you'll be able to see the image. You can either download it by clicking the download button, and from there you can utilize it however you like. If it's for your print, if it's for your website update, for a new collateral you're creating, a postcard, you can download it for use as you see fit. Or you can also click on share. And from there, similarly to that last post we did, once you click on that link, it'll take you to that Facebook page, and you can post instantaneous with your own description about, maybe you have a tip about walking down the stairs, or any other tip that you can relate to the image. You can do it there. Now, if you wanted to post, if you notice, there is no Instagram up here. There's no logo for Instagram, and we'll touch on base on that later. But basically, Instagram does not allow you to repost. So what you'll need to do if you are looking to repost or post these images on Instagram is you'll need to download and then post from there. Let's close that up. And then in addition to these images, again, there's over 300 images on here that you guys can utilize. We also have the product gallery. From here, you guys can select if you're doing informational sheets for your customers, for your patients. This is a great resource on to download images of products. And we also have Freedom videos. Here's where you will find different tips, information from advocates that we've worked with, and that you can also repost on your feeds. Or you can download them and also create maybe a waiting room video compilation. So from here, there's things from, as I mentioned, information about navigating public reaction, the stories of several patients we've worked with, their personal journeys, and tips on going upstairs, coming downstairs, limb health. All these are all accessible to you. And at the moment, we've got over 20 videos posted on here. So once again, this is a live, living, breathing site. On a weekly basis, we're continuing to add more content for you guys to use as needed. Again, this is your digital resource center. In addition to the library, we've got the insights page. This is where you'll find those quick reference guides we were just talking about, the how to set up that business account, the information on search engine optimization that we'll be diving into more in the next sessions. So we've got Facebook and Instagram quick guide. All you gotta do is just click on that, and it'll take you to the page where you can download those two guides, and it'll give you information on what to do next and how to leverage those platforms for your needs. As you take the time to look through these insights, if you have any items that you feel would be a benefit that you would like us to focus in on, simply drop us a line. You can go to the About page and there's a Contact Us section where you can send us a quick message, say, hey, I really need help with this. Is this something you can cover in next week's topic? And we can definitely do that. So this is just a quick look at some of the items we've got posted up right now, how to repost on Instagram, the information about hashtags. All of this is at your fingertips. You just got to log in and you can quickly take a look. And again, check back weekly as this information is updated on a weekly basis. All right, back to our presentation. Now that you guys have access to this resource center, once you have now, you're engaging your audience, what's up next? So remember, as I discussed earlier, engaging is a two-way street, okay? You got to make sure that not only are you putting out content, but you are also responding to comments, to other relevant posts in the industry. You want to create, you want to be part of that community. You do not just want to be in the sidelines sending information in. You want to give and take, and that is how you're going to grow that following. One key element here is how to engage your audience. This is a great platform also to recognize employees. I mean, this was a great post that we saw the other day featuring one of our clinicians, Matthew Nelson. And you can tell here by the way it's set up, it's a little whimsical. It talks about, you know, that they didn't have a chance to go to the barbershop. So it's fun and it promotes that you've got a very well-known or recognizable employee and that you're proud of them. Other things that you can do to engage your audience is you should ask questions, ask for opinions, test your knowledge game, post polls. These are different elements that you can do to give that give and take kind of communication pathway with your followers. And then lastly, you've got that providing incentives. This is a little bit more difficult to do, trying to find the right incentive to provide, what contest, but it could be as simple as you've got a new patient, you just vet them, encouraging them to post themselves doing something new for a potential chance of getting a shirt from you, branded shirt. So those are a couple items that you can do to engage your audience. And lastly, all of this really dwells down to be responsive. Do not leave something unattended. Make sure you communicate back. The worst thing you can do is if somebody has a concern and they post it on your feed is to ignore them. Do not, and I highly recommend you do not delete negative comments. It is better to respond, letting them know that you are going to contact them in a private message that to help remedy the situation rather than deleting a negative comment, because all that's going to do, it is going to fire up that poster and it's just going to draw more attention. So if you do have a negative comment that's posted on your feed, you should still engage with it. You should still be responsive. You can submit, kind of pacify it by responding back saying, let's connect on a direct message and let's make this right. From there, now you're taking it offline and you are going to handle it how you see fit, but you want to make sure that it does get addressed. Some common mistakes to avoid and what you should do instead include, this is silly, but it sounds silly, but do not invite traffic to your page until you are ready. Make sure, as we mentioned earlier, your page is fully set up, and have some content in there. You do not want to invite people to come to your site sharing it unless you've got about roughly 10 posts on there that shows that you are engaged in that community. You also do not want to pay for fake followers. I know this is very tempting. You can have 20, 50,000 followers overnight. Do not do it. It is a trap. You might also be considered a spam account too. So be very cautious of these fake followers. And I'm an adamant believer of, I'd rather have 100 good quality followers that engage with me, that makes sense because they're in my community. They know me, they're going to be a potential customer of mine, rather than having thousands and thousands of these followers that really do me no good. So be cautious of that. And do not talk only about your business and your business alone. As we said earlier, you want to be part of a community. You do not want to just be the one holding that microphone talking about yourself. The second two is do not flood your audience, which that goes without saying. You want to be consistent, like we said. You want to be reliable, but you do not want to be overwhelming. Nobody wants to say, oh my gosh, I've heard from this person so many times today, it's enough. So make sure you follow a good, steady cadence, but don't overwhelm people. And lastly, don't forget to proofread. Again, you are representing your business. Proper grammar and spelling are essential here. So let's take a pause here. You've established your accounts, you've become a valuable resource, you've engaged your audience. Now what do you do? What's next on your deck? Well, now it's time to drive and maintain that momentum. It is not time to take a break. It is time to continue to drive home your message. And how you can do that? Well, you've got several social media tools you can leverage to maintain your momentum. Those include scheduling posts, utilizing hashtags and handles correctly, hosting online events, hosting in-person events, but promoting them online, boosting, promoting your content, advertising, reviewing, looking at your insights, analytics, and then utilizing third-party apps. So we're going to quickly review some of these today. So scheduling posts ahead of time, as Tatiana mentioned earlier, you can definitely do that on Facebook. So if you're going to be away, you're going to be on vacation, you're going to be traveling, you've got a business trip coming up, and you don't have that accessibility to being live constantly on Facebook, take advantage of their scheduling options, and that is accessible on your page through the create a post. And then from there, you can quickly schedule what time and date you want to promote, to publish your ad, excuse me, your post. Now, if you don't have a dedicated marketing person in your office, a lot of the clinics do not. This is also a good way to set aside maybe an hour or two on a Monday or one of the week to your upcoming posts for the following week. That way, it doesn't really interfere with your weekly schedule. It's also important to know the difference between a hashtag and a handle. For a hashtag, that's basically that pound symbol that comes right before a caption with no spaces between the words. Basically, think of the hashtag as a keyword. So when people want to know more about a topic, they will put that hashtag and look up the phrase. Sometimes this has also been used as, just in passing in a sentence, like hashtag you only live once kind of a deal. That's a legitimate hashtag, but it also refers to just a phrase. For our purposes here, we've got a couple popular O&P hashtags that you guys should consider utilizing, and we've listed them here. It's the amputee, amp life, adaptive athletes, limb loss. We've got these all provided also on those quick reference guides, so when you have a moment, go on to that resource center and download that quick guide for a quick review here. And then as opposed to the hashtag, you've got the handle, and that's basically your username preceded by that @ sign. So this is used when you want to let people know that somebody's associated with a post that you're posting. It's basically another label options. For example, for us, it's @Freedom Innovations is our handle. So if you were to put up a post using one of our images, we ask that you just simply put somewhere in the caption @Freedom Innovations, and that lets us know that you've used it, and it also promotes that Freedom Innovations is part of that post. And then hosting an event. This is a huge opportunity here, not only to drive that patient loyalty, but also to drive awareness to your referral sources. So on Facebook, for example, there is a way to set up events online to invite your followers to an online event as well as a live event. In a COVID world that we live in right now, online events are very popular. So take a look. This is a great way to provide that value add to your customers. Maybe you're just showing them how to do proper limb hygiene, maybe discussing a at-home yoga session. Maybe you have somebody in your clinic that does yoga and you have some tips that you want to share with your patients. This is a great way to provide that value to your patient outreach. And then there's that, as I mentioned, the driving awareness for your referral sources. So you can definitely partner with us, reach out to the clinical team, reach out to the marketing team here at Freedom Innovations, and we are more than happy to work with you to host live events, online events for your local referral sources to provide them CEUs. That way they see the value with you partnering with you and you get that engagement there. Coming up on June 1st on that, what Eric calls the FERC, the Freedom Innovations Resource Center, we will have a complete guide on marketing O&P events on social media. On there, you'll be able to download templates, flyers, things that you can customize using your Microsoft Office tools. So no, you won't have to buy anything at all. It's just using what you have on hand to customize templates to basically be able to promote your events and drive that traffic to your clinic. So make sure you check back into that resource center on June 1st for those full details. Two other elements that we're going to be discussing is the boosting and promoting a post. That you'll hear it on one platform called Boost, and that's on Facebook. And then on Instagram, you'll hear it being called Promote. And that's where those little arrows are. You can see on the different posts. So on the right-hand side, that's an Instagram post. And you'll see that it says promote. By clicking on that button, basically, you will be given options on assigning a set amount of money that you want to designate to help improve the reach of that post. There's no little amount or too much amount you can spend. You can spend $1, you can spend $5, you can spend $100. It's really, the budget is about what you want to set. So from here, you are able to designate the demographic reach, how long you want to promote it for, and how much you want to spend. So you can say, I only want to spend $5 on making sure that this post is going to reach, I don't know, like over the next week, I only want to spend $5. And once that money runs out, that's when the campaign stops. So this is a great, quick way to advertise some of your posts. And then there's advertising. This is a little bit more robust, and to do advertising in a more traditional sense, online, I know it sounds counterintuitive, but with advertising, it varies a little bit from the boosting, and that is that it allows further customization. So when you have time, you would click on to that ad center on Facebook, and this is also the hub where you would do the advertising for Instagram and Facebook. As Tatiana mentioned earlier, Instagram is owned by Facebook, so the bulk of the advertising does happen on Facebook. So you're going to want to go into that ad center, and from there, similar to that boost option that we just talked about, from there you can create an ad, you can select your visual, identify your demographic segmentation that you want to use, and it's very intuitive. You can walk through the steps fairly easy, answer the questions, and get things set up. Again, you're assigning how much you want to spend on it and how long you want to run your ad for. But we recommend for at least your initial advertisement, if this is your first time advertising on Facebook, let Facebook do the heavy lifting for you. Facebook has unique algorithms. They're specialized in ad placement. Let them do that heavy work for you. And then follow-up ads. Take a look at how the results of your ad and fine-tune them based off of what you think would improve it slightly. But for the most part, we suggest going ahead and utilizing the Facebook recommendation to get you going and get you comfortable with ad campaigns. Then we've got analytics and insights. Do not be afraid by what you see on your analytics and insights page. There's going to be a ton of information, some red, some green. Don't be afraid of the red numbers. Sometimes profile reaches, post reaches are in decline. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. What you should focus in on Facebook, and again, to access the Facebook analytics and insights, you just go to your page, and at the top you'll see an insights button. Click on that tab and you will get all this information right at your fingertips. We recommend you initially start looking at post engagement. You want to make sure your posts are something that's being well received. So if your post engagement is up, then you're doing great, okay? You don't need to have 50, 60, 100,000 people reached. You need to have a good engagement. So make sure you're focusing on that number. For Instagram, similar to Facebook, they do offer a lot of analytics and information you can access. You can see information about when your followers are most active, gender, age, information, when they're engaging the most. We recommend that you take a look again at the posts. There's a post button under content. From there, you should refine it to engagement. Again, this will show you your popular posts. Now, Why is that important? Why do I care how many people engage in which posts? Because it's going to really tell you which posts are more popular and why, what you should tailor your upcoming posts to. So if you see one is a little bit less popular and not a lot of people, they're just skimming through it, maybe don't do as many posts on that and focusing on more of the ones that are successful. So this is a great tool. Take advantage of all this information that is available to you. This isn't the only advantage of analytics, but this is how to get started and how to start reading it, right? So for now, start focusing on engagement. That is what you will, that will help you take the next steps in your journey on the digital marketing. And then lastly, we've got third-party apps and tools. There's a lot of apps out there, a lot of things, a lot of people trying to sell you stuff to encourage you to utilize their things. So basically, we've identified a couple ones that we utilize and we're recommending. We have no affiliations at all with these companies. Hootsuite is what we use to manage our online schedules. It allows us to basically monitor the feeds across the board, see when somebody mentions us, be able to communicate essentially immediately, as well as post future posts. So Instagram on the app itself does not allow you to schedule, but through these third-party apps, you are able to schedule. So if, as I mentioned, if you are taking some time away from your clinic and you are the one responsible for posting, you could go to Hootsuite. They offer, I believe, a 14, if not 30-day free trial. You can get everything set up in one spot. And I want to say it's marginally priced, less than $30 a month for membership here, and that you can have access to the planners, the statistics. This is a great place also to get across the board statistics. So if you are the marketing person in your office and your manager is asking you, hey, how's our social media doing? You can go to that Hootsuite account, take a look at analytics, and publish a PDF basically, or a printout of how you're doing in your statistics, and provide that in a one-stop shop. Then we've got reposting apps. This one is one of the most popular ones for Instagram. So again, as we mentioned earlier, Instagram is a pain when it comes to resharing other people's posts. They don't encourage it. So you will have to download a repost app. Generally, they're free to use, but they will require you to have that little tag on the bottom that says that it's being used by that app. You can opt to pay to have that little tag removed. It's up to you if you decide to do this or not. There are workarounds to not having to download the app, and you can take a look at some of our other recommendations and how to do that on that Freedom Innovations Resource Center. And it's also included on that guide we were mentioning earlier. So now let's take a quick review. You're established. You've got your valuable resources being published. You're engaging your audience. You're maintaining and driving momentum. What's next? Well, now you're ready for part two. So it's a lot. It's a lot to do, a lot to take in as you're getting started. But now you are ready for part two, which is the exploring and experimenting. There is no wrong answer when it comes to social media. So just keep trying. It's a trial and error to see what works for your niche area. What we've established here is an overall direction for ONP. So again, just a couple reminders. We've got coming up, and we've got the exploring and experimenting. We've got building in social media. Those are part 2 and part 3. If you do have any questions that we didn't cover here today that you need immediate help with, we are more than happy. We're here, as Eric said, to partner with you. So feel free to contact one of us directly or to our main marketing email address at marketing@freedominnovations.com. And don't forget to check out that Freedom Resource Center that's available to you. Sarah, back to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Manar. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We do have some questions here already. And if you do have a question that you haven't typed in yet, just go ahead and go to the questions tab and type those in. We can see them live. So the first one here we have is, if we were to use those images from the Resource Center, the FERC, do we need to credit Freedom, or do you need it to do it on photos and videos, or both? What's your recommendation there?
So if you're using them in print, we just ask that somewhere on on your printed out version, you just say credit Freedom Innovations. Or if you're posting them online, in your caption, in your tags, you just put the @Freedom Innovations, and that's sufficient enough for us. You do not need to check in with us to say, is it okay if I post this? Do I need to get permission? By logging in, signing up for the page, you are granted access to all that media.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Do you have any recommendations, or do you recommend using Yelp?
Yes, Yelp is a huge asset. We do recommend you sign up for Yelp, get everything going, and incentivize your customers to post reviews, positive reviews about your company. So definitely a huge asset is Yelp.
Okay, perfect. And this is really great content. We've actually had some people, multiple people inquire if they could share your presentation with others. So I just wanted to let everybody know this webinar replay, along with all of our others, will be available on our website, freedom-innovations.com, under the events tab. We should have this one up next week, so you can review and share that as you like. Someone says, I've seen other businesses list a short description of the images they posted. For example, female amputee descending stairs. Do you recommend doing that as well?
Is this something that, well, I would need to clarify the question. On the post, if you're using one of those images on the post, then you could tailor your caption as needed. If you have a tip on how to descend stairs, that'd be a great way to use it. Now, what we are going to be doing over the next few weeks is, since we do have over 300 images and we're still adding to it, we didn't have enough, I guess, time to go in and detail every single image. You will find some of them are detailed with a description. Maybe it's the advocate's name, age, and what they're doing. So some of those pictures already have information on it. But over the next few weeks, we will be going in and providing caption examples that you can pull from. And again, it's available to you to utilize or recustomize as you see fit.